The Stolen Child's about a couple, Zoe and Ollie, who really want to have children but can't. So they adopt a little girl called Evie. And then, as so often happens, they're then able to have their own child, a little boy called Ben. And so the story begins when Ben is turning 2 and Evie is 7. And she's just realised that she looks a bit different from the rest of the family, and she's starting to get her head around what it means to be adopted. And one day she gets a letter addressed to my daughter. And inside it says, "My darling, you were stolen from me. I'm coming to get you back. Love, your daddy." I came up with the idea for The Stolen Child when I heard a story about a woman who wanted to adopt a child, and she knew of a mother who had to give up her daughter for adoption because she was a drug addict. And I thought, what if that happened? You know, the child went off to a loving family, lovely parents, but then the father gets involved, finds out that his child has been taken, as he might see it. What lengths would he go to get his daughter back? The inspiration for The Stolen Child was Ilkley Moor. So I grew up from the age of 8, either side of Ilkley Moor, and I just used to ramble across it as a child by myself. And it's just this incredible landscape, beautiful and wild. And there's a real contrast between this wild moorland and Ilkley, which is kind of quite a small upmarket town. The other thing that I loved about it is that there's some real ancient Neolithic sites on the moor. So there's a stone circle and there's some strange carvings, cup and ring stones, which could have been used for blood sacrifices. The other thing that inspired me is the Bronte sisters. They lived in a moor quite close by to Ilkley, and when I was a teenager I read Wuthering Heights for the first time, and it's just such a wonderful book. I mean, it's an incredible story and it's really dark and savage and beautiful, and I wanted to pay homage to it in some small way in The Stolen Child. My previous thriller, Bone by Bone, the title is based on an Emily Dickinson poem which is about pain, and The Stolen Child is also the title of a poem. It's a poem by W.B. Yeats, and I'm half Irish and I grew up listening to Irish folk stories, and The Stolen Child, the poem, is based on an Irish fairy tale, and it's about a child who falls asleep under a rowan tree, and the little people come and sprite him away, and they release him eventually, and he's still a child, but no one he knows is still alive. And what I wanted was to try and get some of the atmosphere of that fairy story into a modern day thriller.